What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham, Gius, and Matthews break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the August 24th, 2024 edition of the SmackDown LowDown. They actually had Scott Stanford and Sam Roberts host this episode. Scott had mentioned that Megan Morant was off for the weekend, so we had Scott and Sam hosting the show. They usually, they do the usual, running in the biggest headlines from SmackDown on Friday, replaying LA Knight and Escobar for the United States Championship, hyping up LA Knight's Open Challenge for next week. I mentioned in my SmackDown audio review from earlier, in a separate video, check it out if you haven't already, cheap plug. I could see Giovanni Vinci actually answering that Open Challenge. I don't know if he has any ties to Germany. I fucking doubt it. I'm just saying because we haven't seen him on SmackDown recently. Andrade and Carmelo were both busy in their own feud. I think they're actually having a match of their own, spoiler alert for the rest of this review, next week on the show that they set up on this episode of SmackDown LowDown. So, there's other options, obviously, but I feel like he would make the most sense. It would be cool if it was like fucking Montez Ford or something, and Vinci would be awesome. I'm just saying it would be also cool if someone like Ford got an opportunity, but Vinci getting an opportunity would not be a bad way to go either, considering he needs an opportunity to show what he can do. So we'll see next week. But after that, we hear from Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin backstage with Saxton. They just address Santos and Legado. Corbin, they just kind of joke around and whatever. And Corbin's like, oh, ask me anything you want. And then Byron said something and they kind of walk away. It was a weird interview. They really said nothing of note at all. I like Show Corbin. I like Apollo Crews. This feud is doing nothing for me at all. Is it really a feud? They're just having matches for the sake of having matches. They've been interacting on TV. Does anyone really care, though? Again, I like Crews. I like Corbin. Why are they still kind of together? I don't know. Maybe we get Legado, Crews, and Corbin in a tag match again next week. Okay. I'd rather see Corbin do something more meaningful, but whatever. Robert says that they're going to take a beating from Legado, so I'm not really sure why they're in a good mood, is what Sam Roberts says. Byron says that he wanted to do an emotional wellness check on Nia Jax. He goes to interview Nia Jax, okay? Because they hype up Nia and Micha next week in a street fight for the WWE Women's Championship. And he says that he's going to do an emotional well check on Nia. And Nia is like, she scoffs at him and makes him bow down. And then she says, you ask stupid questions. So that was a dumb question, and that was it. So again, a nothing interview with Nia Jax as well. But they do preview Nia Jax and Micha next week for the WWE Women's Championship on SmackDown in a street fight. They replay Naomi, Bianca Belair, and Jade Cargill knocking off Blair Davenport, Isla Dawn, and Alba Fire in that 6-woman tag team match, a win for the babyfaces. We hear from Andrade backstage afterward, and he addresses Carmelo Hayes to Byron Saxton before formally challenging him to another match next week on SmackDown. So we are getting the fourth encounter between those two on the show next week. I mentioned that earlier. I'm looking forward to that match. They've actually had a pretty fun feud in the ring. They've worked really, really well together, got people invested in the feud, in their matches, getting over in the process. I like that a lot, so that match happens next week on SmackDown. And Sam Roberts says that Andrade violated Carmelo's peaceful place at the barbershop, so Carmelo's going to be coming for revenge next week on SmackDown. They replay the Bloodline beating the Street Profits to retain the WWE Tag Team titles on Friday night. Sam Roberts says that the Bloodline continue to prove this is what they do, whether it be knocking Orton over to Raw or attacking Cody, attacking Owens, now attacking the Profits and DIY and whatever. They continue to assert their dominance on the blue brand. He also says, after speaking to Paul Heyman, who said the same thing at the Fanatics Fest thing, because he interviewed about that event, he said that Jacob Fatu is the difference maker in all of this, and he really is. He's honestly the one holding this whole thing together. I like the new Bloodline, but Jacob Fatu is really the crown jewel of that group. Not Solo, and I like Tama Tonga. Tonga Loa certainly not. I like Tonga Loa, but I'm just saying as far as being the difference maker, Tonga Loa is not. Jacob Fatu is that guy in that respect. They replay the main event with Owens and Rhodes knocking off A-Town Down Under before previewing Rhodes and Owens again for the undisputed WWE Championship at Bash in Berlin next weekend. And then Sam says he's picking Owens to actually win that match and take home the title, so we'll see. No SmackDown LowDown next week. The pay-per-view is early enough, around 1 p.m. Eastern, and even if it was at like 2 or 3, they don't typically do SmackDown LowDown on those weekends where the pay-per-view is so early. So this is the last SmackDown LowDown for another 2 weeks, but I thought this was a fine show. A lot of nothing interviews. All of these interviews were short, so this episode really isn't worth watching. But at least we did find out, unless they announced it on SmackDown and I missed it, that we're getting Carmelo and Andrade another time for a fourth time next week on the show. So that's going to do it, guys, for my review of the August 24th, 2024 edition of the SmackDown LowDown. Thank you so much, guys, for checking out my review. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.